Madinah behind us, we were driving to Al Ula with a 4-hour drive ahead of us. Our destination was Al Ula in the northwestern region of Saudi Arabia. At least it was daytime this time, and we could see the changing landscape as we drove on. I saw desert, a flat one, not like the dunes that I expected. As we drove through the desert, there was little vegetation on either side of the road, but as we neared Al Ula, the greenery increased dramatically, with lots and lots of date palm plantations. Just over 4 hours after leaving Madinah, we arrived at Al Ula, an oasis town that has been an oasis town for hundreds and thousands of years. When we first saw it, it actually looked and felt a little bit like a sleepy town after the hustle and bustle of Makkah and Medina. It has really simple sand-coloured buildings and really simple mosques as well. It's very beautiful, very different to all the ornate buildings and architecture we saw in the cities. And it's not as commercial as the cities, and most signs are written in Arabic only. As we made our way through the centre of Al Ula, we noticed the ruins of the ancient walled city dating back to the 6th century BCE, which actually means before the Common Era or before Christ. It's made up of hundreds of small mud brick buildings and narrow alleyways. We were finally on the coach taking us to Hegra and the ancient tombs of the Nabataean people. The Al Ula tour first takes you to the Welcome Centre, where you can visit the exhibition and the usual souvenir shop. This is the hub where you get the next coach from to see the tombs. You do not have to rigidly stay with that coach, because you are allowed to hop on and off when you want. But I think most people tend to stay with the same group throughout the tour. Refreshments are offered as part of the Hegra Tour, and while we were at the Welcome Centre, we were given a choice of fresh pomegranate or fresh orange juice, which is served from clay urns into clay cups, and I have to say it was really refreshing and even more delicious drinking from a clay cup. We were also offered dried fruit in sealed packages like dates and figs and others. After having our refreshments, we decided to explore the shop. We walked into an air-conditioned space which was really open, and the layout was really good because everything wasn't crammed into one space. When you walk in, straight ahead of you is a wall of pottery, and it has a really large range of items for purchase, including books, clothing, jewellery, honey, dates and much more. It was all really beautiful but overpriced for the captive audience of visitors. The map shows the planned route for the Hegra Tour, but our one did not include a visit to the handicraft pavilion. The air-conditioned coaches make the tour pleasant, and there is a toilet on the coach as well. There was a whole lineup of jeeps waiting for the more adventurous visitors. Each location on the tour has an information board about the tomb you're about to see. Our first stop was Jabal Ahmar, and it looked fairly big from a distance, but close up it is an imposing chunk of rock. Each tomb location has a Rawi or storyteller who guides you to the tombs and talks about their history. This is done first in Arabic and then in English. Seeing this first set of tombs made me wonder about the people who carved out such beautiful doorways and honoured their dead in this way. The people were the Nabataeans, and they came from the area of Petra in Jordan. Animals and birds were often carved above the tomb doorways. These two tombs are the only ones on the south face of Jabal al-Ahmar. Jabal al-Ahmar has 16 more tombs which are all round the other side and not on the south face. As we walked around the Red Mountain, we saw an array of tombs, some incomplete and some damaged. Take a look. As we were looking at the tombs, we were only allowed to go up to the doorway and look in. We were not allowed inside any of these tombs. And inside, niches are cut out either in the wall or the floor, and in fact some actually have both. It made me wonder about their death rituals, and so when I get back home I think some research is in order. This was our Rawi for Jabal al-Ahmar, and he is wearing a beautiful deep blue traditional robe. I'm not sure what it's called, but if you do know, can you let me know in the comments? And he was happy to answer any questions that we had. Next, we were taken to the most photographed and the largest tomb in Hegra. This is really like the gem in Hegra, the tomb of Lihyan, son of Kuza. A solitary monolith standing alone away from the other outcrops. The tomb towered above us at 72 feet or 22 meters, and it is so beautifully carved that I just wanted to look and look and look at it. It was quite mesmerizing. The female Rawi told us that it was sometimes referred to as the Lonely Castle, and it was carved for an important member of the Nabataean society. However, it was incomplete. She also told us that the tombs at Hegra were all carved out using simple tools like chisels and axes. So, 2 tombs down and 2 more to go. We arrived at Jabal al-Banat, or the Girls' Mountain, another impressive chunk of rock. This huge rock has the largest cluster of tombs in any outcrop in Hegra. There are 29 altogether, and 75% of these belong to females. She also told us about the features of the tomb in front of us. It has 2 columns either side of the entrance, like all the other tombs in Hegra, except for Tomb of Lihyan, which has 4 columns. This was the tomb we had just seen at the stop number 2. We learned that the steps on all the tombs are 5 steps to heaven for the Nabataeans. The ornate decoration on this tomb included an eagle on top of the triangle above the doorway, and a far scarier image of a Medusa-like face with snakes coming out either side of it. This was to warn people to stay away. Some tombs have a plaque somewhere which records who built it, who commissioned it, and who was buried there. Some have multiple 5 steps to heaven above the door. As we moved around Jabal al-Banat, we saw lots of tombs which were damaged or incomplete. Take a look. There is only one tomb in the whole of Hegra which visitors are allowed to go inside, and this is tomb 26, which has a fairly ornate doorway and 14 burial niches inside. It was surreal being inside, imagining the solemn ceremonies that might have taken place there and the sad goodbyes by the surviving relatives. Inside the tomb it was a lot cooler than the desert outside. And so to the final location of the tour, Jabal Ithlib. This is a natural mountain outcrop in the eastern edge of Hegra. This was a sacred area, a place where Nabataean people could come together to discuss, have sacred feasts, conduct religious ceremonies and so on. It is possible that the word Ithlib is taken from an ancient word meaning entrance or passage, possibly referring to the Siq or narrow passage at Jabal Ithlib. The large banquet hall carved into the rock is called the Diwan and has benches carved around its edges. The Siq is the thin slit between two rock masses and leads to the back of the mountain to access more chambers on top of it. This is not accessible to visitors. As we walked through the Siq, we saw Nabataean inscriptions and writing on the walls. It's quite hard to make it out, there are only a few that are quite clear to see. After a final long look at the views from the Ithlib, we headed back to our coach to return to the winter park where our car was parked. We had a long drive to our next destination of Tabuk in the far northwest of the country. But on the way, we couldn't resist stopping briefly to look at the famous Elephant Rock, which was lit up at night time, and it didn't disappoint. I would love to go and see this during the day when we visit again. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then please like, subscribe, share and turn on your notifications. I would love to hear from you, so please comment below.